go ahead and start our September Coffee and EVs. It's 7:04. We've got a crowd on now with a few other folks who said they couldn't make it, but we'll have it recorded and up on YouTube channel for everyone to check out later. We do have a special guest speaker tonight with Curtis Conley. But before we jump into that, let's cover any other news items we need to cover for the recording. And Marty, I know you just mentioned the passing of Rodney Wall, but if you want to just say a couple words real quick. I know you related the story, but we didn't quite catch that on the recording.
Oh, sorry. We lost a member, Rodney Wall, who came to several of our events and was often on our Zoom meetings here. He passed last week. Apparently, Larry Harris was a pretty good friend of his, and the week before last, Rodney was in hospice, and Larry borrowed a Cybertruck from a friend of his, and took Rodney for a ride in the Cybertruck just a few days before he died. So I thought that was very sweet of Larry and for Rodney and his family.
I'm sure you all remember that Prince Philip designed his own hearse, and it was an electric vehicle when he died a few years ago.
All right. Thank you for that, Marty. And then, I don't know, do we have any other quick news items we need to put out to folks before we start jumping into things?
Just because I've gotten a few questions, the Rural Reimagine program is coming to an end. Yep. All the cars are being recalled to Kentucky, and they'll probably, by the agreement to their contract, will have to sell them at auction and then repay the government for whatever they got back for them. I'm hoping that they'll send to me, and I'll send to you immediately, some results of their surveys, although I think most of us could have told us that it's not being accepted in West Virginia because there's no place to charge them. And that's changed over the 2 years of the program, but it's still a major hurdle.
Right. And so, Rick, any updates on, I mean, did they say anything about how it affects charging, some of the charging stations they were putting in?
No, well, I haven't seen any data back from either Max or Zi-Fi.
Okay.
I will hope that they send us all some, right. Larry and you and everybody. But if I get one, I'll make sure that you all see it.
Okay.
Two points on that, if I can. I think those chargers are wholly owned by the Summersville and Summers County for two. They're up and running, and they're great, good locations that were really needed. The other thing, Rick, Sci-Fi Sue in one email made it sound like Tennessee Tech was making a plea to say those cars were theirs, and they were going to try to keep them.
I didn't see any of those emails. So
that's what it looked like. The dean said that since they had co-shared them or something, that they belong to the university. That's the stand I think they're going to try to take and keep them. I hope so.
You know, they all got about 30,000 miles put on in 2 years, or 36. They're not worth a whole lot with the technology going up. If they sell them on there, I'm not sure why they didn't offer to those who drove it, would you like to buy it? But I didn't have heard the university wanted some of that money.
Well, hopefully they can work out a deal and keep the vehicles and maybe use them for the university. All right. Well, without further ado, then I think we'll go ahead and jump into things. So, Curtis, glad you could make it. And I don't know, Marty, do you want to introduce Curtis or let Curtis introduce himself?
Well, all I can tell you is Curtis makes his living using electric vehicles and electric tools, and I'd like him to tell us his story.
Awesome.
Yep, my name's Curtis Conley. I think I've met maybe all of you guys before. I haven't met you, Robert, in person, but I've seen you.
Well, I'm up in the Eastern Panhandle, so I'm a little further away.
But yeah, I'm the owner of Quiet Cuts Electric Lawn Care. I started that last year at the beginning of the season, so it's my second full season. And yeah, everything I've got's fully electric, and I guess the best way to really talk about it is just to show some pictures of it. Let's see here. We just need to share a window. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't really make a PowerPoint or anything. I just have some photos. So, let me just make this full screen here. 1 second. Literally just updated to the new Mac OS, and I can't seem to even find the maximize button anymore. Let's see. I don't know. Can you guys see that okay, though?
Yeah, it's okay.
I guess that should work. But yeah, there's the truck. It's an F-150 Lightning. And I tow an enclosed trailer. And then here is the inside with all the equipment. So yeah, everything I've got's fully electric. Don't own anything gasoline. I primarily use Ego for the handhelds, and then the bigger mowers are Greenworks Commercial and Mean Green. Let's see. But yeah, this stuff is pretty, I would say, equivalent or exceeds gas power across the board. Here's a yard we did back in May with this mower, and it didn't really. I mean, it's able to cut through it. You can see here's a before on this one. There's a during, and there's an after. So it can really handle just about anything. I think this is the tallest stuff we've ever cut. That was still kind of a mess. I mean, whenever grass is that tall, it's just kind of mat. But that mower didn't shut down. It was able to mow through it. So that was pretty crazy. This guy waited until May 6th to start mowing it, for us to start mowing this year.
Yeah.
So it was pretty nuts. I don't know. The best thing maybe is what questions do you guys have about stuff? Anything particular?
I'd like to hear more about the way you set the batteries up and how you're charging them there in the trailer.
Okay, yeah. So all of these are Ego batteries, and you can see they're on these black docks. And then this, can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So this is just a 1600 watt, I guess you call it charger, and it just charges these in some sort of order based on, what's dead and what was put on. But this will have all of these charged by the end of the night. And then the bigger mowers use like dedicated, they get plugged in. Their batteries are not removable. They're like electric car batteries. So the big mowers get plugged in, and then I charge everything off like a generator power cord, basically. And I have a dedicated service drop. So every night, generally the trailer gets plugged in, but I actually don't end up plugging in the big mowers every night. Now the growing season's slowing down. I think last week we only plugged in the big mowers at the end of the week, and we do about we have almost 60 customers. We don't mow 60 yards a week, probably about 40 to 45 a week, I would say, of various sizes. And then like the battery on this mower is actually 24 kilowatt hours. So what is that? Pretty close to the size of a battery in like an original Nissan Leaf, right?
Yeah, it's 30.
Or is it low? It was like low 30s, I think. So 24 kilowatts.
Well, yeah, the original was 24, and then it went up later in its run.
Yeah, the original one only had 60 miles of range.
Yeah. I had one of the originals, and it had original 24 kilowatt battery, and it was at 84 miles at that time EPA range. But of course, you didn't get 84 miles if you were on the interstate or using heating or any of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you get like on this mower, I think they rate it for like 8 hours of runtime. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Unlike a car, there's no HVAC or anything, and
Right.
we're always using them in warm weather, so it's pretty consistent with whatever they say in terms of runtime.
Have you ever put a kilowatt meter or something on any of those cables to get a rough idea of how much power you're pulling at the max?
To charge everything?
Yeah, you can put I don't know. I know for AC you can measure the wattage and everything, but I'm not
I have
sure
it, but the chargers that I use, I just use 110, or sorry, 120. I get 110, 120. I don't use like 240 to charge the mower.
Oh, good to know.
Because when you get home at 2-3 o'clock and we don't leave until sometimes the next day, or it stays plugged in all weekend. So generally everything is fully charged overnight. I mean, I've had some instances where I've ran these almost empty, and they won't be quite full the next day. But no, I haven't actually checked to see how much power it's pulling them, at one time. But I would say to charge all the equipment each month, I don't think it's more than probably $50 a month to charge everything, because it's just, it just doesn't use that much energy.
Have you been able to do any comparison at all to what it would have cost if you had gas-powered implements? Do you have a rough idea from having done it before, or no idea at all?
Green.
Oh,
no.
I think we lost him.
ran out of power.
All those mowers were charging.
And it's
Let's give him a minute here. He might jump back on. There he is.
sound.
You're mute.
Sorry, I closed Safari. I forgot the meeting was through Safari. No, it's not done. You were asking about versus gas stuff. Greenworks Commercial has a calculator, so I can actually pull that up really quick. Can you guys still see my screen or no?
No.
Yeah.
No, just you. Your camera.
You're a handsome fellow, but we'd rather see the screen.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. There should be like a
Share button.
Yeah. I was just trying to pull up this thing here. About to share entire screen. What about now?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, they have. I'll put you this way. Hold on.
So your Greenworks mower is an Optimus?
Yes, it is the
That means it's lithium iron phosphate battery.
Yes. Here you go, Rick. It's the closest thing I can think of to show you, because I guess we're closer to Florida because our gas prices are cheaper than California. But like a 60-inch gas, that's what I have actually, the 60-inch Greenworks. So here you go, 60-inch gas. Actually, my cost per kilowatt hour, I think, is a little cheaper because I have a time of day on that service drop. It should be about 10 cents a kilowatt hour. But you can see you get your savings over time with this stuff. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They even have so this is just the catalog. This is the quickest way for me to pull it up. They even have like a breakdown for what is this? Like, this is just a 22-inch mower. And you can see you save money over the course of 3 years with a 22-inch mower. Basically, everything they've got over the course of 3 years, you're going to save money. You might be paying more up front, but you are saving more, over the course of the 3 years that you have it. Let's see. John, you have a Greenworks mower, right?
I have one, yeah. I have a Greenworks CZ60R. Had it for 2 or 3 years. I love it. It's got a lithium-ion battery, 16 kilowatts. This was the original, I think, the original Pro line. And so they were selling those out, and I got it for $13,000. It was originally like $19,000.
Yeah.
That's what gets me. The Optimus are so expensive. Gosh, what a machine, though. It's really well balanced and everything. It's just, mine's a Z-turn with, sit down. Yours, I guess, are both stand-on mowers.
Yeah, well, I have the 32-inch stand-on, and then actually, I don't think I even showed you. I do have a 60-inch Optimus, and then a 52-inch Mean Green that's a stand-on. But yeah, my 60-inch Optimus is a sit-on. But I don't actually end up using that all that much. I kind of got the Mean Green as a backup mower, but then it kind of became the primary mower. I found with the Greenworks, the big Greenworks, the weight was kind of a problem in some yards. I don't know what yours weighs. The Optimus weighs like almost 1,800 pounds.
Wow.
So you're talking 500 or 600 pounds more. So in the spring, when the ground's softer, so heavy, on hills or inclines, stuff like that, it just weighs so much. Probably be fine now. Everything's pretty dry, but
I weighted mine down even more because it has the battery in the back, and I'm afraid on my hills it'll tip over. So I put weights on the front in a box, extended out, because there's like a tow hitch in the front.
Oh yeah. I know, like, if you get the bagger, you have. If you get like the bagging system for the Optimus, they make front weights you have to put on, or else it will not. It just won't be balanced right.
Yeah.
But no, the Optimus is, I think it pretty much cut through anything.
Yeah.
It pretty much never bogs down. But yeah, the mower you have, I've seen those used. You can get those used now with pretty low hours, but you won't get a warranty for like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. There's a dealer somewhere on the East Coast that is acquiring them gently used and selling them for like $6,000, but only give you a 90 warranty. And I know some people have had more problems out of those. And if you don't have access to parts or you're not really close to a dealer, then
my control board went out, and it was replaced under warranty. But that's the only trouble I had. After not very long, the control board, it was defective and went out. But the new one's been working great.
Yeah.
Curtis, you're sharing. Yeah, if you want to go back to your pictures there.
Speaking of the Optimus mower.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Can you guys see everything?
I saw the Optimus there.
Well, I had an so I started the year out with an Ego. So give me just a second. I didn't.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find what mower is this? I think that's also the Optimus. Oh, 1 second.
And that's made in Georgia, I believe.
Yeah, they're Georgia or like Tennessee. Oh, here we go. So here's a really nice comparison of like commercial versus residential. Yeah. I guess the deck size, this is an Ego 52. This is a Greenworks 60, but you can just see the build quality of commercial versus a residential. I tried using the Ego. It wasn't cutting it for like wet grass. Really, wet grass was just a huge problem with the Ego, especially wet tall grass. And the Greenworks or even the Mean Green, it doesn't really struggle with any of that. Because where I'm electric, we generally start pretty early. Like if it's really hot out, I mean, I've got certain customers that are okay with us starting at like basically daylight in the summer. So about 6 a.m. And with the Greenworks and the Mean Green, you're able to turn the blade speeds down. So you're actually at the 65 decibels at 50 feet, whatever the noise ordinances generally are. But yeah, you can see a big difference between, because I don't know if anyone in the group has experience with the Ego mowers, but they actually did pretty good. It just not so great for tall wet grass.
Isn't that what Larry Harris has? I think he has one.
I don't think so, but I'm not
sure. Converted Ryobi.
Zero-turn electric.
Ryobi, maybe.
That's right. It's a Ryobi.
Yeah, I think it was a Ryobi. I've got an Ego, I've got all Ego equipment, but it's, just a push mower and weed eater and leaf blower and trimmer and all that stuff. And it's been fine. My Ego push mower, I think it's 8 years old this year with the original batteries.
Yeah.
I have an Ego. It's about 5 years old.
I did have another question about your battery setup. Is that like a custom setup, or was that something that like Ego provided to like charge those batteries and manage the charging of them in sequence?
No, they just sell this to anyone now. Now this is a new system that came out. I guess it came out last year because I've had it since I started basically. But no, it's just you can buy it from Ego Commercial. And I will say around here, you probably aren't going to stumble upon any of this commercial equipment. I don't think like even the dealers, like the John Deere dealers that carry Ego, they don't carry any of the commercial stuff for some crazy reason in stock. They can order it, but no, like everything, you can just buy these docks one piece at a time if you want, and then this separate the actual charger. But they probably have the best system actually if you're charging a lot of batteries, because as you can see up here, I've got some Greenworks chargers, but they're not like that. They individually plug in, which is kind of a problem if you're going to end up charging a lot of their batteries at once. Like there's a guy on YouTube in, thinking like, I don't know if it's Georgia or South Carolina or something, Quiet Lawn, similar business name to mine. Kind of that's where I got my inspiration at. And he had to he installed a dedicated, like when he did a shop, he ended up having to install a ton of 110 outlets. Because I guess he did that before Ego came out with this system, because you can plug all this into just one regular outlet and it will just charge them in some sort of sequence. So you don't need to do it like that. So that is a pretty big deal actually, because if that wasn't a thing, then you definitely can't be plugging that much stuff in all at once. You're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. And then the other question I was thinking about, have you ever had a situation where you needed to charge from the Lightning?
Yes, I did last year when I had the Ego zero turn. I tried to charge from the Lightning throughout the day. It kind of worked. The Lightning's kind of, I think most electric vehicles are like this. When you plug stuff in, every time I turn the truck off and turn it back on, I'd have to go in and generally turn the outlets back on. And then the Lightning has like a 30-minute auto shut-off thing where after 30 minutes, it wants to shut everything off unless you press OK. Or you can go into the settings and extend it, but it makes you go in and extend it basically every single time you turn your truck on and off. So it was kind of a headache trying to keep stuff charged where I'm starting and stopping, like sometimes we do 16 lawns in a day. So every time you're going in there and making sure the truck's not shutting off and the power's turned on for the exterior outlets. But this fall for leaf cleanup, I did learn that the cab outlets play much nicer. You don't have to go in and turn them on every single time or keep them from turning off. So I've got a Greenworks charger if I need extra batteries for like running the leaf blowers. But no, with the stuff I have now, we could probably go. I mean, the things that run dead like in the spring are really the small batteries. Really, the big mowers just don't get plugged in every day. They just don't need to because we're using a variety of mowers. Right. If we only had one mower, yeah, we'd probably have to plug it in every day, but we're using a variety. So we kind of can generally go a few days if we have to without plugging anything in.
Yeah, maybe that'll be something Ford adds to the trucks is some like commercial operations so that knowing the folks that would be using the trucks, maybe you can choose to leave the outlets powered even when it's parked for a while.
Yeah, I would like it on the truck if there was a way where it always had power to those outlets where you could just walk up even when it was off and deliver power. I don't know if that's even possible, but that would be the most ideal thing. Because actually, if it ran like that somehow, I could even just you charge the trailer off the truck at any time you wanted to, and not really even have to worry about plugging it into the separately, I guess, into the server, into the post. So,
go ahead, John.
So, two things. Any plans to add solar? And as far as your truck goes, one of the things we found out at the drive-in, as far as controlling the lights and stuff, there is a tool that you can connect to the truck to be able to change some of the configuration. That may be your option for your outlets.
Oh, okay. Well, what was the first question? I'm sorry. Oh, solar.
Any plans to add solar?
If you add solar to the trailer, you pretty much have to have like a battery, right? To really benefit from that. And then it's really just not cost effective for me. I would like to add solar for my house one day, or maybe even for that service job. I don't know how that works where it's with AEP. It's just like I think they just have it listed as like a temporary service, or it might almost be labeled the same as if you had a trailer. I'm not exactly sure how I have it labeled with them, but no, probably not. Probably don't want to add no solar because I don't want to have to buy yet another big battery. And even then, it still wouldn't work amazing because the big Greenworks mower, the battery on that's like 24 kilowatt hours. So no, I don't think it would really be cost effective. It would just add, I think, more complexity to the system in a way. But no, yeah, I do charge at night. I mean, time of day, so when there's less strain on the grid. I can charge whenever. I just pay a lot more to charge, before 9, outside of the hours of like 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. So.
Go ahead, Scott. Yeah, I think you're muted.
He's muted.
Still muted.
Still muted. No, can't hear you.
The little microphone at the bottom.
You might not have the right mic set you've chosen the right mic for the application.
Does he want to just type a message out? I can respond to it.
Yeah, just type into chat.
We can't hear you, Scott.
I'm trying a different.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, I switched it to a different microphone. What was the question? Oh, I was going to say I just got off of a call with Solar Holler where they've, you may have heard that on late August, they essentially extended the deadline for getting solar installed and get it under contract by November. Well, first get it under contract with Solar Holler by November 21st, and then they can still get it installed and get you the various net meter. You'll get full net metering, which then gives you the option of bringing your costs down, Curtis and others. Anyway, just offering it as a suggestion.
Yeah, if you do net metering, then the power company's your battery. You don't have to put a battery in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem I have with solar is I don't own the house that I'm in. It's my father-in-law's house. If I own the house, I think I would already have solar because I understand. Yeah. When they do the payoff calculations, do they ever factor in the fact that your electric bill is probably going to double in like 15 years?
Oh yes, that's in there.
Is that in all calculators? Because I don't know how the math does sense if you aren't factoring that in, because it will probably double in the next 15 or 20 years. Everybody's bills.
I think most of the more sophisticated calculations, especially if it's a provider generating that kind of return on investment for you, they usually factor in an inflation, factor on the cost of power.
Yeah, I think our electricity rates are probably even exceeding inflation, right? Our increases.
They have the last few years.
I think they have, recently. More recently they have. Yeah. And that probably doesn't show any signs of slowing down either. So
yeah. Like if I owned the house, I would definitely go solar.
Well, I don't know.
It'd be a good contract. That's all.
I don't know if they figure out what we're figuring out is that we're saving gasoline, and we had our propane company take the tank away. We put in an electric boiler now. We're doing everything electric. Grid goes down, we're sunk. We have one gas stove, one tank of propane, but it's all that isn't factored in very well. I don't think we're ahead of schedule on our payback. It's going to be 8 to 10 years, I think.
Same with mine.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I've already hit payback on mine once you factor in things like gas for the vehicle.
How does solar hold up when you want to buy a new house? If you put solar in your house, does that really increase what you can ask for it? Or it's like a swimming pool, you never get back what you paid in. And what is it with solar? You pay $20,000 per system. Can you add $20,000?
I think, Rick, a lot of it depends on the area of the country you're in and the desirability of it. And if it's a lease system or an owned system, so there's some variables. But I think generally the thing is I've seen from real estate brokers is that it generally does increase the value of the house. I won't say that it increases the value based, commensurate with what you paid for it. But if you've already got several years into it, you've already got some of that payback. Yeah. And you got the tax credit. So there are factors. Your net cost, you may be able to recoup the net cost when you go to sell the house.
And real estate agents I've talked with say just make sure you leave bills of what it used to be out on the counter and what it is now. A $14 connection charge is all I'm paying for the next 25 years. And she said we're not planning on selling anytime soon, but she said that'd be the advertising we do, is because that'll get people's attention.
I was really upset last year when my bill went from $5 a month for the last 6 years to $6 a month. So, I was really put out by that.
A 20% increase.
Increase, Robert. 17%.
I have a question actually about solar, but do any of you guys have like the battery backups to go with it?
I do.
I don't, because my reliability is good enough.
Yeah. Well, my question, I've always thought
Larry does, yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to not have a grid connection in West Virginia? Like if you have enough Powerwall, you probably would need some sort of like propane or something to get through the coldest months of winter.
I don't think there's any reason why you could go off grid if you wanted to. And some people I think have done that in places where like a cabin or something where it was just so exorbitantly expensive to put it on the grid that it just made sense to keep it off grid. But obviously there's some trade-offs with that. So yeah, and you want the grid because you want to be able, you'll generally make excess power. So you want somewhere for that to go, even after the batteries are full.
Yeah. What about
I
like
fill up my batteries and they need to go somewhere.
I guess like Florida or Texas, that would be like a little easier to not have a grid connection, right? Because then you don't have to worry about the winter months. Somebody was telling me, maybe I don't know if they were right on this, that in some places maybe you're not allowed to not be connected to the grid if
That'd
you're
be
in
Florida.
Is that Florida?
Florida.
They use
Yeah,
state
they're
to not be connected
anti-solar.
to the grid if you have solar.
They're anti-solar there. I do have some experience for a friend of mine in Texas. He's an engineer, and even his retirement, a very nerdy one. So he plotted the costs every 5 minutes, production and where the power went. Did it go to his house? Did it go to the grid and stuff like that? And he found that only without batteries, only 37% of his electricity went to his house. The rest went to the grid, and he was getting 10 cents on the dollar for metering. So he did a whole bunch of analysis and found that it was optimized at 2 power walls.
Yeah.
So he put in like what that'd be about 26 kWh.
Yeah, it's 13.5 kilowatt hours each, so 27. Yeah.
27.
Is the payoff for solar in like California way quicker? Because isn't their electricity like 50 cents a kilowatt hour?
Yes.
So then they've got time of use. They've got time of use rates. So the power you make during the day is more valuable, and the electricity is just much more expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I had one more thing I wanted to share, actually, kind of related to electric lawn care. Let me share my screen again. I'll share screen. Can you guys see this window?
Yep.
Being in California, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but gasoline lawn equipment actually pollutes a lot more than gas cars. So you can see this infographic here. I guess if you didn't really know anything about emissions, you would assume that cars would probably be polluting a lot more. But I guess they've made gasoline cars quite a bit cleaner, but they've not really done the same with the mowers and the blowers and things like that. That's why in California, I think this year they were supposed to start banning the sale of new like gasoline equipment. I think it might just be for homeowners or under a certain horsepower rating, but pretty sure starting this year they already started that. So for anything new, I think there's even a carve out for like existing inventory for stores. They can still sell, but they can't like get new inventory and sell it because the emissions are much greater than even say driving a car.
I know 2-cycle engines are like terrible on emissions. And I guess that's like leaf blowers and weed eaters and things. Those real small engines.
Yeah, blowers are specifically really bad. I would say leaf blowers are also probably the trickiest thing to electrify. Not really because of power, but because of the amount of energy they take to run all day and the amount of batteries it takes. So your most polluting thing is kind of also the hardest thing or most expensive thing to electrify. Just wanted to share that note.
We went to Hawaii 8 years ago, and in that time, there's no coal in Hawaii, so all their electricity was made by burning oil. They had to bring in $1 million a day. I'm sure they passed that on to the consumers, but at that time, in 2017, 50% of the houses in Hawaii had solar, and it's probably up above that now.
They actually had to stop allowing people to tie solar into the grid in California because, if a cloud passed over, the grid would crash because they were so dependent on solar rooftops. So for quite a while, until they got more batteries online, like it's for half a decade or something, there was a moratorium on adding solar to the grid.
Wow. I had a couple more things on the lawn care. I heard that it was like supposedly about 5% of our emissions come from lawn mowing equipment and everything because it's just so polluting. I don't know how accurate that is.
I haven't heard of that statistic specifically, but I have read a statistic that and I guess it's hard to get an exact number, but it was like 40 to 60% of Americans with a lawn paid somebody else to mow their grass. Pay for it, where like 30 years ago, it was maybe 5 or 10% of people. So a lot of people, it's not just, the elderly maybe that pay for it. I mean, it's actually, I think the biggest group of people that pay for me to mow their grass is probably maybe middle-aged people, not even the elderly people. Because I have some customers that just hired me this year, and they did it until they were 70 or 75, and they just did it until they just were not able to do it anymore at all. But yeah, it seems like more and more people pay to get it done. But I'm the only one, I think, that has anything electric. There's some landscapers that use some electric hedge trimmers every now and then, but I'm the only one that's anywhere that went all electric.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
One more thing on the blowers. I bought a Greenworks blower, 82 volt, like all my other Greenworks handheld equipment. But the dang batteries are a whole lot bigger, and they won't interchange with my other 82 volt system. So I only have the 2 batteries for it. I thought all of mine would work for it, and I'd have plenty more power. Also, they were supposed to have an umbilical cord to go to the mower off the ETO system.
That's out now.
Is it out now?
Oh yeah, you won't find it on their website still. It's out. I think it's $250 or something. I thought about buying it. Then I was like, I don't know if I'll really use it.
It's awful expensive.
Yeah, for like maybe a one-off thing. I mean, actually, anytime you're buying commercial equipment, everything's expensive. But with that, you could basically run whatever you want all day long.
Just plug it into the mower, and you have a cord. You take the mower wherever you want to go.
Yeah. Well, actually, they have a for the optim. Well, maybe you could put it on yours. I don't know, but they have like an optim.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, they have a blower now. It's like 51 newtons of force that mounts on the front on that receiver, and that plugs in. I have good intentions of getting that, and it's like, which I guess compared to the cost of the mower, it's not that much, but it's like $3,000.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to, it only goes on I guess I could put it on the 32 inch, but you're still just kind of limited versus using, say, a backpack blower. Because I've got a lot of smaller properties. And that's not going to be helpful on anything that small.
Yeah.
But they're like the only ones that make that. But really, the price is so high because it's really targeted towards people who do like giant, like malls or like, I was at the Louisville, the convention center basically, and they have like a stand-on leaf blower. They ride around to blow off the road, right? And they've got like almost like miles that they blow off. So it's really for like those really giant properties where you can just stand on the mower and already have the blower attached. You're not buying a separate stand-on a leaf blower because you're doing really large sites. That's something really useful. I guess that would probably benefit you, John. I don't know how many leaves you deal with, but if you have a large properties and you want to move the leaves off, if you're not just going to mulch.
Well, we have ditches along our driveway. That's the main thing. They're about 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah. But that cord is out. You just have to probably go to or contact a dealer. What dealer do you use for your stuff?
James River Equipment. They have about 12 or 14 stores in Virginia, West Virginia. They're in Lewisburg.
Are they pretty friendly towards the Greenworks stuff? Like, do they?
They have been. I don't know how much they've been selling though, so they may not be lately. I haven't been back there for a while.
Yeah. Well, I called around when I bought mine, and some of the dealers listed were no longer dealers. They dealt with the UTVs, and apparently the Greenworks UTVs are just really terrible. And but that's what they were selling the most of, and they just got sick and tired of dealing with them, so they just canceled.
24 grand versus 13 from Candy Cowboy.
Yeah. Well, apparently not. It wasn't even the price. It was just they just kept breaking.
Oh, really?
But the dealer I go to is in. It's like 2 hours from my house. It's in. I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's about 2 hours away. It's actually an Amish guy. He started his own dealer a couple years ago, and he's a Greenworks commercial dealer, and then he's like a couple other gas brands. He's a really small dealer, but he's a Greenworks commercial dealer.
So how many of these presentations have you given? It seems like you're a great speaker, and you could be giving presentations to anybody that was interested.
None, actually. And I think that if I do one again, I probably will go ahead and make a PowerPoint because it's kind of hard to pull up photos and go through. Actually, my photos hadn't loaded from my phone. I took some of those pictures yesterday, so actually it was kind of last minute logging in, but I knew what I wanted to talk about. I mean, I've talked to some of you guys about this stuff before at the Coffee and EVs.
Well, any other comments or questions for Curtis?
I was just going to say he was talking about the old guys that like to keep mowing. This is what I use for my little push behind. Does have it's a Ryobi, and it's the third mower that I've had. The first one had a battery that you could not take out. The next one was, and I forget what the brand was. Then a Black & Decker where I had two. I think it was 40 or 36 volt, where it had 312, volt lead acid ones in it. And boy, these are the nice thing. I've got another 4 amp that goes in the weed eater, and I will change it out when this one runs dry. Yeah, so it serves my purpose. So, but
yeah, I
appreciate you having your business.
Oh, thanks. I actually had a Ryobi push mower we used for last season, some of this season, and it was all-wheel drive, which was nice. A lot of hilly stuff, but residential, and it just I think I went through 2 of them. Just had to end up returning them both to Home Depot. So sometimes the residential stuff work really, really well in terms of cut quality and sometimes even power. It's just the I guess durability and reliability is just not good when you're using it, every single day.
Yeah, for me, it's just every week and a half or so, and it's held up pretty well. And
because I actually have a couple of the 12 amp hour batteries, but I don't only have like the leaf vacuum now, the Ryobi leaf vacuum. But are you ever in need of more batteries? Actually,
no, I pretty much can make it work between the 6 and the 4 amp hour batteries, unless it's really tall, and then I might just have to finish the yard the next day after I've charged them, or charged one of them. So I wish while I was on vacation this summer I had you handy, because I would have had you do the mowing while I was gone for 6 weeks. My wife was not happy with who I had. They weed whacked some of her flower beds and mint beds and stuff and such. So that's another. I was going to say one more thing about charging and source of power and everything. One of the places we went was Iceland, and we rented a Model Y that you could sleep in and camped in it, and that was great. In Iceland, 90% of the power is generated by geothermal there, and so it was a great way to go for 3 weeks. Oh boy, here's a big red battery.
I was going to say, we're talking about batteries, so I was going to go ahead and thank you so much, Curtis, for joining and sharing about your business and your equipment. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Curtis.
Did just have a couple things I wanted to pull up. We were talking about batteries, and that kind of went in with one of the things I had pulled up with this, the new Mega Block. I don't know if you've seen this, and Tesla isn't the only one that makes this stuff. But it is interesting to see the evolution of these batteries, these grid scale batteries from BYD and Tesla and CATL and some of these other companies. But the thing that got me on these things are shipping container size. And I think the Mega Block is multiple shipping containers, and it is 20 megawatt hours of power.
It's 4 shipping containers.
4 shipping containers. There we go.
So,
and it says in an acre, you can fit 248 megawatt hours in an acre.
That's a quarter of a gigawatt.
Hour, not a gigawatt, gigawatt hour.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, gigawatt hour.
Yeah,
but so the density keeps, not only are we getting more power and, storage, but, we're, making it denser and more compact so you can do it in less space.
Tesla seems to sell their, at least the earlier versions, in either 2-hour or 4-hour versions. So it's either a C of 0.5 or 0.25. And the 0.5, the 2-hour version, costs more because the wires are bigger. So, and then we've got here in West Virginia, we've got our Form Energy that has a C of 0.01. Which
I haven't heard anything more about them. Have they really put anything in?
I think they've got some contracts, but I don't know if they've actually. They say they're up and running, and they've got some minor contracts where they put in like 1 megawatt, which is 100 megawatt hours of battery. They've done a few things like that, but nothing really grid scale, no
Okay.
100 megawatt batteries, which would be 10 gigawatts of storage.
All right. Well, I saw that, thought that was interesting. So we'll see more of these things from different companies as this becomes a bigger and bigger part of renewable energy and smoothing out the duck curve in places like California. Of course, the other big news was, well, today actually, Rivian broke ground on their Georgia factory. So we have RJ there with the governor of Georgia, and they're breaking ground on their new factory there. That factory is going to build the R2 and the R3 models, but they're also building R2 at their Normal, Illinois plant.
Up to 200,000 per year.
Yeah, at this facility.
So I saw an interview with RJ and from a comedian named Tosh. And his first question was, so how do you feel now about buying Twitter?
Did y'all
So
see
he goes, wrong executive.
Yeah.
the mayor of Normal, Illinois was interviewed by Kyle O'Connor? Did you see that one? That's a really good one.
No, I didn't actually. So you said Kyle Connor interviewed the mayor of Normal, Illinois?
Yeah, Scott sat next to him on a plane going back to Normal, and so they were there for something else to pick up a Rivian, hers, the one she drives now, and they talked him into doing an interview. He was the nicest person. He's a bicycle rider, and he talked about the whole history of Normal. That's where the school was that taught teachers. So it was called school, and that's right next to. There's a line dividing it from another city. But there used to be, I think it was a Mitsubishi plant that now they use for the Rivians.
It was a Chrysler Mitsubishi like joint venture, I think. Actually, they built some joint cars there. And if anyone's seen interviews with RJ is just a really down to earth, nice guy for a CEO. I mean, I don't know what he's like behind the scenes, but seeing him in interviews and answering questions and talking to folks is kind of refreshing.
Complete sentences.
Yes, complete sentences, understandable, well spoken.
And Jim Farley's kind of like that too. I like what they're trying to do in Louisville.
Yeah, Jim Farley is also another straight shooting, down to earth CEO. Good to see that from Ford. The other bit that I thought was a little ironic was Exxon announcing, I guess, that they're getting in the business as a lithium supplier, but also I think it was Exxon that had a graphite innovation they were pushing. Yeah, here it is. Claims a new material used in EV battery anodes can extend battery's lifespan by 30%. So Exxon's starting to make some moves into some different energy areas than their historical fossil fuel area. So that's interesting.
Maybe they'll use some of their subsidies to pay for that, huh?
Yeah.
So I saw an interesting analysis of California gasoline market, and this year 2 different refineries are shutting down that'll total 16% of the gasoline production in California. But that just about matches the amount of the gasoline sales have gone down the last 15 years. And that's attributed to population loss and EV sales and higher efficiency of cars. So EVs are having an impact out in California, where they're up to close to, I think, 10% of the total car park or total car inventory are now EVs.
Well, you know, cars have just gotten more efficient in general, and then we've got hybrids and EVs. So it's just like fuel usage overall, like per vehicle on average, is definitely trending down. That's why the whole fuel tax thing is such an issue. I mean, like fuel tax revenues are going to continue to go down. They're going to have to do something different.
Was it Tesla that was I had a story about a month ago on replacing aluminum for the lithium in the Model 2. Did y'all see that one? I saw a video that said Tesla had battery breakthrough, and it was using aluminum, which is a very common element, one of the most common in the Earth's crust, instead of lithium. I'll try to find that and let you know.
I don't see how that could work. How it could be aluminum. There's talk of
Yeah, I didn't see that.
sodium battery.
Yeah.
So
And there's actually some sodium batteries in production now, I think.
for BMW. There's this couple from Cornell, graduates of Cornell, both PhDs, started doing research, and BMW gave an exclusive contract, and they're up to test phases in real cars on test tracks with a sodium battery in Germany. So sodium may be here, and that would be a huge cost revelation if that goes through.
Oh, that reminded me of something else I saw here. Let me throw that up here. This past week, Ducati showed a electric motorcycle, but the interesting thing was it's using solid-state batteries from a company called QuantumScape. So they're starting
my stock's almost even now. So. Sorry.
So we're starting to see some at least demonstration projects of solid state, next generation solid state batteries. So yeah, interesting stuff. I hope it continues to grow. Well, anyone else have anything? We're about 7:56. Just a few more minutes.
I posted on Facebook. I used an Iona charger in Ohio, and it worked flawlessly. And it's actually, if you're driving from Huntington or Charleston, it's the best location of any fast charger in the Columbus area. So it's right off the loop road, one exit from US 23 to the east. So it's real easy to get to, and it's fast. Every time there's a sheets there, and every time I had to move the car before we were ready to get in to drive on.
How did it compare? I mean, of course, I know your state of charge might be different, and temperatures and all that. But did you get a feeling for like how it compared to like a V3 supercharger?
The car was limiting the rates both times. I left with 80% charge from Charleston, so I got about 100 kW each time. It started off, but I was on the downside of the charge curve, so it dropped off.
I haven't seen how they compare on the 400 volt vehicles, compared to like the V3s.
It's Alphatronics. It's real easy to use. You hold your credit card up to the reader and it goes dink, and you're charged.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, when we were in Iceland, one of the chargers was just like buying gas. You just swiped your credit card and you bought electricity. No apps or anything needed in the phone. Kind of like almost as easy as Tesla, just plug in and go.
John.
So speaking of charging, plugging in and going, Tesla has announced, at least they're starting overseas first, that they are going to be bringing plug and charge to third-party chargers for Tesla owners, be able to activate it through your Tesla app.
Oh, wonderful.
Without have to have any other cards, and you'll be able to track all your bills through your Tesla account.
Have they mentioned which ones they're starting with?
It's overseas. I forget where it was exactly at. But yeah. To be coming, as long as everybody liked it, which is an understatement. I believe all the Tesla owners will love it.
Go ahead, Rick.
On our vacation, we stopped at Rivian chargers 3 times, and you can start it very easily with a credit card. If you go in the app and you don't own a Rivian, you can't start it that way. But the problem is you don't get any data. If you don't take a picture real quickly when you're done charging, that's lost forever. Rivian doesn't have it. You know, your credit card just sends you a bill and you have no idea how much you even paid per kilowatt hour. So I got very quickly learned to have my camera right there when I hit the stop, and then have my wife hit the stop inside and then take a picture of it. Otherwise, and I'm a nerd. I like to keep that data, how many kilowatt hours, what it cost me. But that's true. Rivian, just put a credit card up to it each time. And I did that. Well, no, EVgo I did with the EVgo card. And I also used the DC America, and that was also twice in the last 2 weeks, and just put a credit card up to it.
That's good.
Good to know that
John?
the DC America. DC America. You just use a credit card. Works exactly the same way as the Iona.
Okay.
And we're about at 8, but John, did you have something else you want to add?
That was my comment too. I've been using that Lincoln Electric, which is the DC America in Beckley, on the way back from Charleston, and it's really nice, really easy. So same.
Is it busy? Have you seen any other cars there?
There was an Equinox there when we were there, and they were pulling out with their charge port still open, so I flagged them, but they saw it on their dash anyway, but I closed it for them. And I saw a Prologue there once. That's all I can think of.
That Iona station, which is one intersection away from 23, is also one exit away from 33. So if you want to go up Athens, Lancaster, instead of Chillicothe and Circleville, I find it easier to go up to Pomeroy and hang a left on 33 and go right on into, or maybe from, anyway, 33 is, the Obetz is just one exit off of 33 coming into Southeast Columbus.
All right. Well, everybody, we are 8:01. We'll go ahead and wrap up for this month. Thanks to everyone for coming out. Thanks again to Curtis for this presentation.
Thanks, Curtis.
And our next meeting is, I'm checking the calendar here. It'll be October 21st. That is the third Tuesday in October. So we'll see everybody back on October 21st, 7 p.m. All right. Thanks again, everyone.